The fluorescent lights above me blurred as the morphine dulled the pain. My ribs were cracked, my leg shattered. I needed surgery, and fast. The nurse's voice was tight when she said, "We need a guardian's consent." I called my parents. My mother didn't answer. My father texted back, "Can't this wait? We're busy." Busy, while their child lay on a gurney, bleeding? The phone slipped from my hand, but I didn't cry. Not then. Instead, I asked the nurse to dial my grandfather. Within an hour, he was there. His signature saved me. His presence held me. And in that moment, lying broken under hospital lights, I realized something with perfect clarity. My parents had forfeited the right to call themselves mine. My parents never hid what I was to them, a burden. They raised me with minimal effort, quick to point out my flaws, slow to acknowledge my worth. But I carried hope like a fool, thinking if I achieved enough, worked hard enough, they would notice. Straight A's, scholarships, late nights grinding while they poured drinks at dinner parties. They never came to my recitals, never remembered my deadlines. Grandpa did. He was the one who showed up, clapping too loudly in the back rows, his smile wide and unashamed. I mistook my parents' coldness as distance. It wasn't distance, it was choice. The accident made it undeniable. A crash, screeching tires. My car crumpled against the guardrail. I thought, surely now they would come. Surely near death was enough to shake them. But their text told me everything. Busy. They didn't even ask if I would live. It wasn't neglect anymore. It was betrayal. And as I healed in that hospital bed, their absence was louder than any apology could ever be. When I was discharged, Grandpa drove me home. His hands, worn and veined, gripped the wheel. He didn't say much, just glanced at me with that quiet wisdom he carried. I didn't tell him my plan yet, but I had one. Loyalty deserves reward. Betrayal deserves consequence. And I had leverage. Because the family trust, the land, the assets, the house they flaunted but never earned, was still in Grandpa's name. They assumed it would pass to them automatically. They assumed wrong. The first week after the hospital, I stayed silent. Let my parents think nothing had changed. Let them stay smug, planning their next trip, their next party. Meanwhile, I visited Grandpa. I told him the truth, not with tears, but with facts. The text, the silence, the absence when my life hung by a thread. He listened, his jaw tight, his hands folded. Then he asked one question. And who was there for you? I met his eyes. You. 3 weeks later, the papers were ready. His lawyer drafted them carefully. The trust amended, assets redirected, inheritance reassigned. Everything my parents assumed would be theirs was signed over. To me. I walked into their living room with the envelope in my hand. They barely looked up from their glasses of wine. My mother's first words weren't, "How are you?" but, "You're walking better, finally." I set the papers on the table between us. Read. My father frowned, unfolded them. His eyes scanned the words, then froze. My mother leaned over, her breath catching. They read again and again. Finally, my father's voice cracked. "He wouldn't?" I cut him off, calm, cold. He did. The silence that followed was delicious. The house, the land, the accounts, they were gone, out of their reach. My mother's hand trembled around her glass. "After everything we've done?" I laughed, a short, sharp sound. "Exactly. After everything you've done." I left them there, drowning in shock, their empire dissolving like sugar in water. Now, when I sit on the porch of the land that is legally mine, Grandpa beside me, I don't feel pity. I feel peace. My parents once texted me that my life could wait. Now, they'll spend the rest of theirs waiting for wealth, comfort, and legacy that will never come. I used to ache for their approval. Now I realize indifference is deadlier than hate. And when I signed those papers 3 weeks after the accident, I didn't just secure my future, I ended theirs.